What's going on out there? Why are we in this state of affairs right now?
Well, first of all, just to mention about the memorial, I watched most of it, and it really was heartbreaking, of course. And I met Charlie he was a guest on my podcast, and so I felt a connection. And on the positive side, the people who spoke on his behalf, of course, President Trump and J.D. Vance and a whole bunch of people from the administration. The positive thing is that they showed whoever was watching, and there were millions, right? I don't remember the exact number, but there were a lot of people watching it.
100 million.
Yes, I thought it was something like that. And so they got to see they got to see these people in a different kind of setting. In other words, not just talking about policy and things like that, but they saw that they had such a heart, and they saw another side of them. And I think that is good. I think it's got people to understand that these are not Gestapo people, and this is not Hitler, and all of the other names that they like to call us. In fact, these are people who really cared about Charlie Kirk, care about America, care about them. And there is this trend, this sick trend, and I think it started, at least this current trend, started primarily during the end of during the campaign, the presidential campaign, where especially after Biden had to leave and Kamala Harris came in, and they realized that there really wasn't there wasn't a comparison, that they couldn't say what policies they were going to put in that would make people happy. All they could do was to just call Trump names. And that, I think, started it, at least started the groundswell that we are now seeing, where people are continuing to call good people, from Charlie Kirk to ICE, calling them Hitler, calling them Gestapo, calling them, these words, these horrendous words, the worst of the worst. And when you keep using the words like that, they become devoid of any meaning.
Yes. Okay. So the word of the week on all the talk shows, like Rush Limbaugh used to say, is Gestapo, right? And they're fomenting violence on the left. There's no doubt about it in my mind, the MSM. Mike, I have two questions. How much of this, with the people whose heads are exploding and couldn't debate Charlie Kirk, or, are acting out or shooting people, how much of it is mental illness and how much of it is like conscientious maniacal behavior, right? Is there a difference between being mentally ill and evil? Or are they mutually exclusive, or are they one and the same?
Well, there are various combinations and permutations, but certainly, one of the biggest problems we have is at the schools, that kids starting in preschool even are taught these kind of leftist sort of beliefs, and are taught to change to become a man if you're a woman, and vice versa, to be taught you're either the oppressed or the oppressed, all these horrible ideas. And when they are taught these things super young, it becomes part of them. And then, of course, then they hear all these names and all of that, and they're looking for a purpose. I mean, there is a lot of mental illness out there now, more than there was. And it's a combination of things. It's a combination of parents not really, you hear about helicopter parents, but really parents are not being as involved with their kids as they should be. There's no dinner in most homes, no family dinner. Where they used to talk about, that was a time when you would ask your child, how'd you do today? What happened in school? All those things to find out if they're upset about something. None of that is happening in most family homes. Then, of course, social media, the things, the sayings and the ideas get magnified on social media, and people want to get more likes. And then, and then the regular media, the mainstream media, just, drives it home to these people, that and then of course, when they see the people, like they see, like currently, the shooter of Charlie Kirk, and now the shooter in Texas of ICE, they see these people taking out their frustrations or doing, not just even that, they don't see it as that. They see it as people being heroes, kind of like Charlie Kirk was a hero and he stood up for all of this. And, we talked about it. It was talked about at the memorial and all of that. These people want to be heroes. They want to be looked at as the Charlie Kirk of the left party.